Have you seen what Nintendo's been up to lately? Having finally acknowledged that the Wii U was just dead in the water, instead of respecting its demise, they've resorted to salvaging the valuable organs and stuffing them into the Nintendo Switch. That's a great analogy, thanks Glayce. If you didn't catch on, I'm referring to the mass amounts of porting between the two systems, as all the good games on Wii U are switching over to current gen. It's a bit of an F for Wii U users who probably bought the system because it had those good games in the first place. So, why do it? Well, for the monetary gain obviously. These games are proven to be hits, so to be given a second chance gives Nintendo, and the third parties involved, a second hit of revenue and allows a wider audience to consume the game they might have just skipped out on due to it being on Wii U or for consoles. So, that's cool and all. But why the heck are we pouring time and resources, though admittedly less than a full game's worth of dev time, on these games? Now, I'm not gonna say, oh, if you want to experience these games, get a Wii U, loser. But I mean, after pulling this 60 chess move, is there really much of a reason to buy the Wii U? Maybe for a handful of games that haven't been ported yet, but Nintendo are seriously devaluing the console, which is another shot at Wii U users who might want to resell their own console, for example. I mean, the demand will be hella low. Bit of a double-edged sword, don't you think? Nice, short-term boost for the Switch, sure, but a long-term wound to the Wii U. But here's what I'm thinking, right? You pour all these resources into the good games, but like, why? These games are pretty good as is, or in some cases I guess good in sales? I'm looking at you, New Super Mario Bros. U. But what's the point from a non-economic perspective to do this? You're not really adding much to these games, since they're good as is, and most of the things that are added are little optional bits, which, while yeah, have their charm definitely, aren't really always enough to justify buying the same game again for like £50. If it ain't broke, why fix it? So, what about games that are broke? Why don't we fix those? There are certainly games out there that had potential, but for one reason or another just couldn't reach it. Be it development hell, not having the talent needed to output such a vision, or the vision being way ahead of its time. There's a plethora of reasons why a game might just not be as good as it could have been, or in some cases even bad. Take Shenmue for example. It was a massively complex game, which was very much ahead of its time in 1999. It took leaps in games which hadn't been done before, such as a sprawling open town setting where you could basically participate in day-to-day life in this more virtual world. But a consequence of this is that by today's standards, it seems quite rough, especially given how much of the aspects of the game have now been polished and expanded by other games like the GTA games from 3 onwards for example. There's also a few problems in the game, like having to wait the in-game clock for time of day specific story beats to take place. Not to mention, a sizable portion of the game is essentially what amounts to a forklift simulator, which I mean, for some reason isn't everyone's cup of tea.
It's a f***ing bullshit forklift simulator for assholes! You people have been f***ing fooled!
Now, a lot of the problems are remedied in Shenmue 2, but I mean, isn't that more reason to give the same treatment to the original? To get up to par with its sequel. The idea for Shenmue is pretty good and well, I think it'd do more justice getting it remade for new consoles than New Super Mario U Deluxe of all things. And I mean, there are so many other games which get the same treatment. If I went into all the games this could apply to, would be here forever, but I imagine you could probably think of a few games that could see this treatment. So, what about bad games? Now those be super broke, but bros, we could unbroke them. Sonic Adventure 2 is a flawed game, I think we can agree on that. But there are obvious ways to fix a lot of the problems the game has, which have been pointed out in many a review of the game. Now, I know there's a remake in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, but that's a very flawed experience and is more of a port than a fix. Imagine if they remade Sonic Adventure 2, again, but this time made it so more than just a third of the game was fun. I mean, wow, I think that would mean we'd have another good Sonic game in the sea of crap. See what I mean? When you remake a bad game, the overall amount of good games increases, which is pretty neat. But when we remake good games, well by god, we haven't done a thing, have we? Now, I get why this isn't a thing already. Companies don't want to risk profits on remaking a game which already has a bad reputation with fans, even if they're reworking it to be better. I mean, damn, you could remake Paper Mario Sticker Star into being the best game that's ever graced the planet, and people would still be like, yeah, but bro, Sticker Star bad. Which will hurt its performance at launch, which can be detrimental to a game's performance on the market overall. Plus, in a lot of cases, like Sticker Star for example, there would likely be a massive overhaul of the game if the flaw comes from underlying game mechanics or the game design as a whole, which means that these final products, while remakes yeah, might end up differing greatly from their original form, which might irk those familiar with the original. But I mean, who cares? We're getting a better game at the end. Just accept the fact that your game's flawed, bro. And also, I know that's subjective. Shut up, I'll ban you. Now, I know this ain't gonna be a thing. Companies don't want to do it. Which is why I propose we start a revolution. Yes, like Soviet did. We storm into Mr. Video Game office, hold him at gunpoint, and give him our demands. Well, no, not really. I doubt there's really much we can do in terms of getting this type of change, since, you know, we're people trying to fight a big corporation. But hey, here's a cool fact. Sega's actually been looking into remaking Shenmue because there's big fan support for the idea, which Sega's obviously caught up upon, and they know that if there's big fan support for something, they can profit. So maybe, just maybe, if there's enough fan outcry for this kind of stuff, we can make this into a reality. Yeah, that's it really. I'd like to hear what you guys what you guys think of it. That'd be nice to know. Anyway, see you next video, I guess.